Welcome to Drivers Talk Radio, hosted by automotive expert and championship-winning race car driver Rick Titus. Join Rick, co-host Jay Dalton, and their team for informative and entertaining discussions geared for automotive enthusiasts and consumers alike. Enjoy in-depth interviews with industry leaders and influencers. Now, originating from its studio headquarters inside Shelby American in Las Vegas, it's time for Drivers Talk Radio and Rick Titus.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rick Titus. As you've already heard, this is Drivers Talk. Got a little bit more of the team in studio today, which, by the way, is right here at the Shelby American facility. We sit in their Heritage Center, their museum, if you will. And something not often heard in Las Vegas, the parking is free here, not at the hotels. And, of course, the tours are free as well. And, frankly, you can go right out on the shop floor. They let you go out there and watch you build the cars, watch them build the cars at least. And, of course, the gift shop here really does have great stuff. This is not goop and junk. This is actually quality stuff, something the Boulder Dam might want to learn from because they sell crapola. Just embarrassing. But having said all that, I've got BJ Colleen with me, our road test editor, who's back from Detroit. Dare I say sunny Detroit? Was it nice?
It was nice, but it was windy. Yeah. And I just want to say, go team.
Which
team? Yeah, well, the Dodgers always, but the Drivers Talk team too.
Dodgers always. Yes. That's a foregone. And then, of course, producer and co-host of the program, Jay Dalton. How you doing, bud?
I just got back from Detroit. I want to say go team.
Yep.
Team Detroit.
The team that I'm talking about is the new Packard facility. They have now broken ground on rebuilding the Packard plant.
Yay.
And that happened while we were back there, Rick.
Right. I knew they were talking about it, but with what end goal, do you know?
They're going to turn it into a mixed use, restaurants and commercial properties, and shopping, and the upper floors being residential.
Well, if they get any extra asphalt, they might want to run it on out to their vehicle dynamics area that we just spent some time on. But okay. Spencer Crick, who is finishing up his move, we hope smoothly because it affects our production. And of course, now that he's in a 2-story luxury home as opposed to an apartment, living kind of large. You haven't gotten too stuck up yet.
No, I'm trying. I'm trying to be humble.
That's good. For those of you who wish you were in Las Vegas right now, it's 110, so no rush. And I know it's a dry heat, but I just want to remind you that's what turkey says to stuffing on the way into the oven. It's going to be a dry heat. It's still forking hot, okay? But having all that under our belt, I wanted to mention Speed Vegas, right down the street from us, quite frankly, not very far, still on the Strip, albeit past south of the M Hotel, continues to add to their very spectacular inventory of exotic cars you get to drive. And it seems to grow every day. They've got the new Ferrari 488, I believe it's pronounced, Jay?
Yes.
They've got a new McLaren 570S. They've got the latest Audi mid-engine car. They just keep growing that. I'm telling you, the stuff out there and the fact that you get to drive it for as little money as you get to on a road course, not bad stuff.
As quickly as you can.
Woo! Yeah, 160 up the front chute for those you've used to doing that in traffic. Right. Not going to happen. So much going on. I know we've got a Tesla-heavy story. We've got Jerry Heasley's coming on the program a little later. One of our contributors. We love having Jerry on. And he definitely got in the Tesla tattoo line, the Tesla drink the Kool-Aid line, the Tesla who we're going to sacrifice a goat line. Jerry's in on Tesla. He has an S. This is a little interesting to me because he's a diehard, and I love him for this, Porsche 911 guy. So interesting that he has gone from Porsche 911 so hard. He's kept his collection, but now moving into Tesla, and even might surprise you with one he's thinking about getting down the road. So
the goat that Jerry's about to sacrifice on behalf of Tesla, first name, Nikolai.
No kidding.
Little Tesla humor.
Little Tesla humor.
Sorry.
And by little, he means very, very,
very little. Hey, man, this is going to be kind of an electric-based show, this particular episode. What's the deal with Faraday? What's the deal with that groundbreaking? Because I understand this guy's still trying to raise money.
I thought he was supposed to have a lot of money. But
he's supposed to have a lot of money. He's put $300 million into the project. He's in charge, this Chinese backer that is now looking to raise $1 billion so that Faraday can be opened. And I understand the factory has come to a stop up the road here, right?
Yeah, they did. Fortunately, Sandoval and the government here put a quick halt to it before they got too deeply committed. I mean, the land is there; they're ready to go, but he never made any of the deposit deadlines, and I don't know.
Can we just about put this one in the wastebasket, or what do
I'm
you
not
think?
putting it in the wastebasket. I think that they've got a viable vehicle there. It's going to be a ridiculous amount of money. I'll tell you that right now. It's probably over. I think they said over $200,000 or something like this for this vehicle. But they've
kind of a vertical market.
It's
saying.
a vertical market. They've run it on a drag strip. It's beat just about everything else out there on the Pilot, the test vehicle. But I my fingers are crossed. I want to see them do well. Especially because I don't want Tesla to have all the spotlight. I did not drink the Tesla Kool-Aid. I want Tesla to succeed, but everything I'm looking at, they're so busy pounding their chest and bragging about how great they are.
Their chest has to be black and blue.
It has
they
to be.
pound it all the time.
I want to see them brought down to the real world, and I'd like to see Faraday Future jump in and
I just
help
don't
that
trust Faraday
quest.
right now.
So,
I'm actually a fan of the Elio marketing program. That's where you take deposits but never build the car. This is a very effective, I think, business model, Jay. Yet somehow they still managed to get over $200 million in debt.
I've got an answer to you on that one because obviously Tesla has been taking quite a lot of deposits too.
Oh, yeah.
A $1,000 deposit
Yep.
on the Model 3. We're going to speak with Jerry Heasley about the Model 3 coming up later in this show.
Because it's due any day now.
Yeah, it's due. It's coming down the line
Yeah.
any day now. The reservation cost is $1,000.
Right.
You're limited to 2 cars, so you can give them $2,000 and get in line for 2 Model 3 Teslas. But they have a 100% refund policy. Meaning
Right now
you can click your My Tesla account, unlike the Elio business model.
Well, the Elio business model is you could. I went for a no refund deposit to kind of move myself up the line because I'm really and truly stupid. But for those less dumb than myself, you could, if they had the money, actually get your money back. And there's where the snag occurs. When they go to the money shelf, there is no money. Just incredible.
I mean, let's massage this story just a little bit here. They're talking about a very high-speed production run. They're talking about using no soft tooling. If those Model 3s start spitting out at 10 times the production rate, is what I've been told, that if they start spitting out the other end with defects, there's going to be a backlash that happens here. And
can I
watch
go
out.
on record as saying I think that's going to happen? I'm going to put my. I'm going to.
you and I
You're going to
both
put your
know.
journalistic
I'm gonna put my-
reputation on the line?
Well, maybe it's not that much. I'd better put $1. That's about worth a little bit more. But yeah, I think.
You think that's
I
gonna-
think there's going to be problems
That's
because
gonna
of
be-
manufacturing.
But BJ and I
speed.
have done a study on this stuff, and we know that the line speed cannot exceed 3.5 miles an hour.
Thank you.
Human beings can no longer accomplish a task
But
at
as
3.5.
robotic, if
Explain
you
that.
double
Explain that a little bit more, because it's no longer it's not robots unless you're building the sheet metal. Really,
Right.
It's people hanging stuff on cars.
You
isn't
got to
it?
put stuff in the end. It's still people bolting stuff in and on, and the interiors in particular present a huge challenge. We got exposed to this the very first time when we went to the new Mercedes plant in outside of Frankfurt, and you're bragging about how this car is just going to be so bitchin', and how is this will be good for you Americans to see how quality cars is built. And of course, they were knocking about 65 a day. Well, in the United States, we're knocking about 65 an hour.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggerated number. That's an accurate number, 65 an hour. And so I said to him, hey, Wolfgang, that might be great for submarines, but if you're going to build cars, 65 a day ain't going to get it done, Jack. You'll be out of business pretty quickly. And he goes, well, what makes you think you know so much? Well, we knew from talking to people who engineered the assembly lines in this country, 3.5 mile an hour is about all of it, because now you got other cars still coming, and you got just in time delivery of interiors and dashboards and door panels, and the original doors now rejoin the car. It went to a separate line in the paint booth. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden magically it appears just in time. Tesla starts putting a tan seat on the passenger side and a blue seat on the driver's side. People are going to notice.
Yeah.
Even Tesla people with them rose-colored glasses are going to catch it. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be the California model.
I love it. Yeah, give it a slap on a special name. You got it.
That's right.
But the truth is, they talk about so much more automation, and that's great. But computers have glitches. Machines break down. things happen. So you can't just unilaterally go, well, we're going to speed it up to 10 times the speed.
It's not a volume knob.
It's not a volume knob. You're absolutely right. And then there's more on top of that, on the automation and then the infrastructure. And I'm sure we're going to be asking Jerry about that a little bit later on too. But there's now a brand new thing that came out in the news that says AAA, the car insurer, is going to have Tesla owners pay up to 30% more for insurance because they have a higher rate of claims with repairs and all these kind of things. So
repairs like damage,
collision. They say they get in accidents more, and it just goes on and on. That's what AAA study has said.
What?
They're getting a lot more crashes. They're more costly to repair afterward. Where they have to go to get them repaired. So it's kind of interesting. Now Tesla's screaming. Tesla's saying, "Well, you're putting us in the wrong category." They're kind of lumping them in with the Volvo XC70 instead of the XC90, where they think they should be in a higher weight category and things like that.
Are you speaking of the Model X or the Model S?
The Model X is what I'm talking about. But they're going to raise them across the line, is what they're saying.
Okay, because the Model S I would compare with a Jag.
And that's another thing too. They're saying, well, as far as that goes, we're not. I don't know. They're just trying to say that they're not in the same category. Tesla's trying to make their own category so they don't get judged the way other cars get judged. I mean, it's typical Tesla. We're not like anybody else. We're special. Give us our own special category kind of thing. But they're saying that collision damages claims for large luxury vehicles are 30% more frequent than average, and those claims are about 50% higher than average. And that's the rear-wheel drive Tesla S, and this is the S, not the X, is involved in 46% more claims than average, and they cost more than twice the average. So now the others, Geico, State Farm, they haven't said that they're going to charge more, but if AAA does it, insurance companies, they're not like, oh, we're going to give you a discount. So
you know exactly what's going to happen.
Of course
Elon
you do.
Musk is going to give you Tesla insurance.
And that's great, but then he's going to
On
be
that
broke.
happy note, AMF and listeners, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Driver's Talk. Appreciate you joining us. We truly do. We're so excited how big our numbers have gotten. Spencer, there are so many platforms now that we're on. We're blessed at how things are going. Our new deal with AutoWorks, so we're on TV now. Just a ton happening. What kind of places can people find more on this show?
Well, you can absolutely find us on AutoWorks TV. That's a streaming automotive service with several original programming and other stuff. You got to check it out. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher, and now Google Play. So you can find the podcast version of this show all over. And not to mention YouTube. If you want to watch the show, and for one of the shows I think coming up next week, you'll absolutely want to do because we go to a museum, and the video version of that will show off all of that stuff.
Cool, good stuff. You can hear some of the tour people in the background here at Shelby American. We are so fortunate to have that. We're so excited that you now live close.
Yes, me too.
So we can have more frequent visits from a road test editor, BJ Colleen. Yeah, the show is going well. And by the way, I'm going to get a little TV star time. I've been invited by AutoWorks TV to the Italiana Corsica, yada, yada, up at Monterey.
Concorso Italiano?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
that is
impressed.
correct.
And I'll be
At their booth.
I'll be at their booth hosting interviews with people rich enough to own Ferraris.
That is AutoWorks. Auto, WERKZ.com.
AutoWorks TV.
You know when you're rich is when you can get a Ferrari from a vending machine. And they actually have one.
Where?
They have one in Singapore. Because you have no space to go this way, they went this way.
Yes.
So they actually have a vending machine like with Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Maseratis, and you push the button and the car comes down to you. And then, of course, you take it for a test drive. But they actually have a Ferrari vending machine. So one thing about putting one in your house, Rick.
Yeah, there you go. Mine will have Fiat 500s in it. And
You see, you guys, you're not joking, are you?
I am not joking.
You're
This is my
joking
news
with the
piece.
Fiat
Yep.
500.
Oh,
Let me
well,
introduce
those are the
you.
owners I'll be talking to at the
Let me
end.
tease a future show because I'm going to contact the people
And
at
Junior wants in on
Carvana. Carvana is a dispensing.
Yep.
Do you know this one? A dispensing dealership built vertically for people who don't want to deal with used car salesmen.
Yes.
One's in Texas right
Yep.
now. I'm not making this up, Rick.
I'm just picturing a guy in a suit trying to unwrinkle one of those bills.
You mean
and trying to put it in
$100,000
the
bill,
machine.
the $1 million bill.
The
right?
$1 million bill.
Yeah.
It's
What if it gets stuck? Do you hit the machine?
Yeah,
I would do that.
But this is just kidding. Well, we sort of learned about this when we went to Japan because they got vending machines pretty much for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a brand new pressed shirt. You can buy. I mean, you could buy hot food out of a vending machine in Japan,
and other things that we will not discuss here on the
Thank you.
program.
right?
I will discuss
But
something.
their photos were very attractive.
The photos were very attractive. It would not be in our best interest to pursue this any further.
Well, we gain audience. It's just not the audience.
Yes, it's
we
not
want.
the audience that we're looking for. No.
Big audience.
But speaking of videos,
On the topic of video.
on the topic of videos, let me present to you, Ricky,
Oh, this scares me, folks.
your own copy for review of the 24-Hour War.
Oh,
Show
son
that
of
to
a gun.
camera if you could. Recently, I had a contact again with our friend Nate Adams, who, along with Adam Carolla, was the producer and director on this new film. It's just come out on DVD and Blu-ray. In fact, they showed it to the Shelby Assembly on the East Coast, the East Coast gathering
yeah.
that they had for Shelby. This was played the Saturday evening. Now, there's your copy. I have another copy at home. We both got to look at them before we do this show next time. I want a movie review out of you because it's the typical. I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, looking for the typical 60%,
Yeah.
80%. So far, it's 100%. It's only got 6 reviews, but
That's
we might
pretty
as well
good.
jump in, give our own review before this gets devastating.
Because
Spencer, get a copy?
Does it feel a little weird to have to refer to Rotten Tomatoes as a real serious critic site?
Well, it's the only one that you can come up with numbers on, percentages on. So Rotten Tomatoes, they gave Rush, the Formula One film by Ron Howard, 89. Dust to Glory got a 60.
Rotten Tomatoes, you make fun of them, but Rotten Tomatoes is what the movie industry right now is blaming their bad summer on. Seriously, they're saying that because Rotten Tomatoes is giving bad reviews to movies like Baywatch and a couple other ones. So if you don't think Rotten Tomatoes counts, you're wrong, because Hollywood is very angry at them because they think that Rotten Tomatoes is influencing the entire movie watching audience.
bearing in mind that making Hollywood mad these days takes pretty much exhaling.
Yeah. What do you think, Spencer?
Well, I'm not making fun of Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
I just think it's just so
Amazing it's become
fascinating
so
that this
legitimate.
is where we're at.
Yeah.
Yes, it is fascinating. You're absolutely right. So.
Well, do you think Yelp could influence a dealership?
I
Certainly
think
influences a restaurant.
DealerRater influences dealerships.
DealerRater, oh,
Yeah,
yes,
DealerRater.com is a place to go if you want things like that. But Yelp too. But Yelp has gotten so much bad press for made-up reviews and how they sort them by who's not paying for what. And,
Yes.
But DealerRater is a real location to go to see how you
DealerRater.com.
Yeah, DealerRater.com. You didn't know about that, Jay?
No, I did not.
Well, you
Nor
learn
I.
something new every day. All right.
Neither did I. Here's something that surprised BJ the second I showed it to her, Jay as well. We've had the blessing of being on a lot of test tracks around the country and frankly around the world, Japan, Germany in particular. Was stunned to see that Honda, on their proving grounds, actually put out a press release. Facilities like this are usually kept top secret.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, and I don't think it's a big secret that there's a proving grounds out there in
I
Canton,
agree, but
California.
to show so much detail and discuss it at such length,
Yeah.
we've just never seen it done
You-
as a PR object before.
Yeah, but you can look on Google Maps and you can see it too. Hyundai, Kia's right real close
yeah,
by
they're right
too.
by, yeah.
You can look at anybody's, but they may be opening it up to the public. So maybe that's why they're doing it. It's
I
a
know they talked about
possibility,
letting
so.
other companies test on it recently.
Yeah,
they were discussing
well, that kind of thing, letting other companies test besides.
Last week, you mentioned we got back from Detroit. We were up at the Michigan Proving Grounds. Rick, remember when they were begging for business?
Yeah.
About 2007, 8,
When
9.
the market fell out.
Begging for business. Now they have so many drivers, so many projects, so many cars. It was hard for us to get into the place.
we had to
time.
break into, and it was interesting when we were there previously. BMW was there, Polaris was there testing that the three-wheel thing.
Yeah.
Other car companies. It felt really weird. You're here testing a Ford product on Ford's River, and there's all these other brands running around. Boy, that is history. It is pure Ford now.
Well, you can forget anybody testing any place but Las Vegas from now on as soon as that track is built out in Pahrump. Because Spring Mountain is building the rival to the Nürburgring. It's going to be, 15 miles
Could
long?
be longer.
No kidding.
Yes, and absolutely. And once that gets done, you're going to see restaurants and hotels. They'll be their own little city. And no need to go to Germany anymore. You can come right to Las Vegas and do the same thing on a track that doesn't cost you, a fortune to get overseas with your cars. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that.
But I bet the engineers at GM just love going to Germany, so much money on the company nickel. They'll probably just keep doing that, which really tweaks me off. Buy American, but we're going to go test them all over there.
We'll see what happens.
In our next segment, we're going to talk with Jerry Heasley. There's a couple of Tesla stories that we just have to prime the pump here with. The first one is the investor, David Einhorn, who's betting against Tesla shares. In fact, he's shorting Tesla shares furiously as they go up. They have gone up 58% this year. Now, that's a lot of smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned.
Me too.
They've never made a profit. He is, and some of those shares are going up because it's other guys shorting the shares, having to buy the shares that they shorted to get out of the transaction. Nevertheless, he described the Tesla situation up there as a science experiment. That was his famous
I've
quote.
heard this reference before.
This reference,
and I
that
love
was
it.
David Einhorn, who's betting the farm on Tesla shares going down. Good luck to you, David. Let's see. With Model 3, it's going to have to fall out of bed as you have thought about. You think it's still going to go
goes up?
We have learned the hard way.
Now, the next one that's worth talking about when it comes to Tesla is, Rick, you brought this to my attention that there was some HR, there were some human resources problems at Fremont where they were complaining injury rate, triple the injury rate of. Sorry, I've misspoken. 31% higher than the normal injury rate of 2015 industry average. Yes, repetitive injuries, high frequency injuries.
But they're going to produce more cars faster.
Yeah.
This was a May 18th report out of The Guardian.
I've seen them on
England,
TV too.
I hear that.
Fremont, California, and this poses a moment where unionization may take place at the Tesla factory.
That's going to kill him.
Now, what has happened is they've immediately come out and said, hey, our improvements already in 2017 have addressed all of these issues, and we now have the lowest injury rate by far, no matter what. So they've gotten on top of this, but watch out for union influence at the Tesla plant.
I can see
Fremont.
that coming. Yep. Hey, one more news story is Toyota and Tesla have parted ways. They're done.
How were they joined to begin with?
I think that they made a deal to work together, but in order to do that, Toyota had to buy so many shares of Tesla, and I think it was something like $50 million worth of Tesla stock in order to work together. So Toyota's they sold off the stock now, and the biggest problem why they quit is because Toyota was the first out of the box with their Prius, with the electric vehicles, right? Well, it seems that they're a little upset that it looks like Tesla is the one that did all this, and Tesla is the big guys that come up and step up to the plate when Toyota's actually been doing it for how many years now? So they don't think that Tesla should be in the spotlight, that they should be in their own spotlight.
And let me throw in one more grain of salt into the ointment.
Okay.
Whose factory are they in?
Yeah.
Well, Chevrolet, Toyota.
Joint
factory. Project, though.
Yeah. So.
I heard it was the combination of making future electric cars, and I think Toyota wants to get away from that and just say, hey, any future electric cars are ours.
That's what I'm saying. It's because they're the ones that started it. Why is Tesla getting all the kudos for a Prius that's been around for 10 years now? The Prius has been around that long?
Oh yeah.
So you look like a follower is what Toyota says.
Now, do you see Subaru has announced that they may just electrify their existing platforms, which makes perfect sense to me.
Makes a lot of sense.
AMF and listeners, we're going to break. Please join us just after these short commercial messages. And welcome back to Drivers Talk. Rick Titus, BJ Colleen, Jay Dalton, Spencer Crick, and a voice you've certainly heard a number of times in our program, a dear friend of ours, Jerry Heasley, who's a contributor to this program from time to time. And we are taking the topic of Tesla on. We tease that up front. Tesla's on the move and in the news again. And, of course, the much anticipated, at least from Tesla, as BJ reminded me, is their new model coming out as well, and other things Tesla orientated to talk about. So with that, I'd like to welcome Jerry Heasley to the program. Have I done something wrong there?
Not at all. Tesla's always in the news. Jerry Heasley is our Tesla guy because he's not only an owner but follows the Teslarati like crazy and has brought to our attention that the Model 3 is about to come down the production line. We're going to get a jump on everybody and talk about it today. Jerry Heasley, welcome back to Drivers Talk. What do you think about the Model 3?
Well, I think it could be the beginning of the transformation of the entire auto industry. And that's why it's the most anticipated new car, I would say, since go back to the Model A. I mean, back then everybody wondered what the new Ford would look like after the Model T entered production. And Henry Ford just shut down the company. But we know what this car looks like. We have to know what it is first. Too many people out there think the Model 3 is like the next best Tesla, like you had an iPhone 2 and an iPhone 3. That's not true. This is an expansion of the product line. I mean, Model 3 is a lesser car in terms of the Model S is the flagship with all the performance and the bells and whistles. And I think I told you, Rick, that weight was not such an enemy with electric cars because the batteries are heavy, and the more weight you have, the more performance you have, and the more traction you have. Actually, there are nuances there to talk about, as you know, because you can still make a lighter car go faster in electric, but you have to know how to do it. But the Model 3 next month. It should be out. They've already got 300,000 or 400,000 deposits on cars, and there's some important things to say here. I mean, the first car as it comes off the line is going to be two-wheel drive. Now, that doesn't seem to bother most of the people waiting in line. The all-wheel drive will follow in 6 to 9 months. That's one of the key points. Another key point is every Model 3 is going to have full self-driving hardware. Now, whether or not you opt to pay for the enhanced autopilot where you have the software for full self-driving is up to you.
Now,
that's an extra.
Jerry, if I'm not mistaken, that's probably an extra $8,000 or so for that software?
Well, I'm thinking, that's what it is in the Model S. And there are two stages to it. Where you get autopilot and then full self-driving. So Rick, the first one's 5 and then 3, at least in the Model S. They haven't told us yet about the Model 3. They've told us on the Model S.
But Rick, can you imagine a $35,000 base car with some autonomous capacity where you could add this on, maybe even add this on at a later date?
Yeah, that's what I would think would be important, is the ability to integrate it later or update to it. $35,000. I'm hoping that delta gets accomplished. That's going to be very, very important at Tesla, particularly with that kind of volume anticipation. If you've got 300,000 people waiting in line, that's not a bad customer base to draw on. Beej, what kind of buzz are you hearing? You get back into Dearborn more than Jay and I.
Well, the amazing thing is that a lot of people are waiting for this vehicle. There's no question. And so there's a big buzz about it. But remember that the people who are Tesla fans are diehard Tesla fans. And it's kind of hard to talk to them because they don't really have any kind of objective point of view. They're all about Tesla. Tesla's going to be great. This car's going to be wonderful. So it's going to be interesting to see, all the hand raisers, how many people actually get the cars, what actually happens with them, how many people take the autonomous pilot information and options and actually use it. But then you've got the whole other side of this coin, whether they're going to be allowed to use that completely on roads.
I agree.
It's interesting.
Jerry, there was recently a private tour and viewing of the new Model 3. It happened in June 2nd and 3rd up at the Fremont factory. It was led by their chief designer, Franz von Holzenhausen. Sorry, I'm saying that wrong, but Franz.
It's number 4 at a German restaurant.
Yeah, Franz is a pretty influential designer. That look of the car, that's half the reason why they got all these deposits, isn't it? The look of this car is a little different, but yet quite fashionable, isn't it?
Well, it's funny you should bring that, because when you look at the Model 3, they still made the front end look like there might be a radiator there, like a little air intake. And I think that on the Model S, but I think the Model 3 is getting away from that a little bit more, because, form should follow function with cars, and they didn't want the car to look too weird. But I think they did a good job with the front end of this Model 3. I mean, overall, the Model 3 looks like a baby Model S. And so I think that's part of the confusion. The back looks a whole lot like a Model S. The front is different, and the sides are very similar. They don't have the doors that are automatically present themselves. The handles present themselves. You push in, and it slips out. It's still flush with the body lines. But no, people like the looks of it, and I think mainly the people that want these are people that wanted a Model S, but they just couldn't afford it, and they wanted, you're going to get over 200 miles of range. So they said 215 for a long time. I think when Musk comes out, he always likes to surprise everybody, and I think when they really show this, that they will give you a higher number, and that's on the 60 kilowatt hour battery. There'll be a 75 kilowatt hour battery option, which costs more money. And I would guess I think that thing's going to really shock everybody. Now, this private introduction, you could have got in that thing if you had 5 referrals, like for the Model S in the last 3 months of 2016. So it was a private viewing. So we haven't seen any reports yet. I've been looking for them. I haven't seen any reports. I don't think there's any great information to come out of this. They're waiting for that car to be introduced before they really tell us all the really startling news. Like, I think Elon Musk will get up, he'll get up on stage like he does, and I think he'll say, he'll give us a figure that there's going to be something that knocks you over.
I think you're right, Jerry. I think he's a bit of a showman when it comes to this stuff. He knows exactly
a bit of a showman,
how to play it. Now, I've got a question for you. You're a Tesla owner, and I'd also like BJ's opinion on this. Is what gets cross-shopped on a Tesla? Now, some would argue that a Bolt EV, Chevy's Bolt EV, would be cross-shopped against this. And I'd be tempted to say that that's wrong, that I don't think anybody's cross-shopping it like that. What's your opinion? And then I'd like to hear from BJ.
Well, the opinion there is that both cars will go over 200 miles. I think it's 238 on the Bolt. But they're just saying that the Model 3 is more trendy, and it has a little bit better looks,
It does.
It doesn't have the storage capacity of a Bolt. It's got that little trunk in the back, but it's just more trendy and the looks, and also you're going to have a supercharging network with Model 3. So I agree with you. There's not really that much of a comparison because of the how much involvement Tesla is in strictly electric cars. I mean, but all the manufacturers are getting involved. I mean, big programs from Mercedes and VW. And Rick, I just wanted to mention to you, I won't segue too much, but Toyota, I told you that hydrogen deal was bad, that would never work. And it put them behind. In November of 2016, it had the new CEO come on from the family, and he said, hey, we're going big time with electric cars. So that's really great news for the automobile market, that will have so many people into electric cars. And I'll let BJ give her impression now.
BJ, do you think this is cross-shopped, or do you think a Tesla buyer is a Tesla buyer, period?
I think a Tesla buyer is a Tesla buyer, period. Like I said, they're fanatics, and I think they've set their sights on Tesla. I don't think Bolt is getting cross-shopped. They might look at some other electric vehicles, maybe something from Honda. Then there's a new Leaf coming out, so that might be something that if it can match the economy, I think it might do it. But
I think style has such a terrific portion of this market. Now, where are these buyers coming from? We've only got about a minute left here in this segment. Are these buyers, it's my opinion, these buyers are coming from the German crowd, the Audi buyer, the Mercedes-Benz, the BMW buyer, that is actually who's being swayed over towards Tesla, not so much Lexus.
I think they're coming from everywhere. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't think it's just a German buyer. I think they're coming. I think the Model S was because it was that kind of segment. Yeah. But I don't think this one will at all. So,
I mean, I hear that Heasley is so on board. He now spits on his Porsches. He just he wants them out of the way.
No. Hey, I love my Porsches, and I can't sell them. But one other big thing you need to know about Model 3, it's the first Tesla to use the new 2170 battery. And that's a huge improvement. It's got to go into Model S. They're not mentioning it, but any day now you'll hear somebody say, we've completely switched over to the new 2170 battery. It's 50% larger in volume, but it has double the density. So it's going to be a huge improvement. In fact, and I think they're going to charge much faster.
Well, interesting.
I mean, there are so many advances coming here with this battery.
I got to tell you, Jerry, I've met some people recently who had double density, and I wasn't that much more impressed, but I know what happens out there. Hey, AM, FM listeners, we're going to go to break right now. We'll be right back with more from Jerry Heasley. And welcome back to Drivers Talk, coming to you from the Shelby America facility right here in Las Vegas, just off the Strip. And it can't be said anywhere else, but everything here is free. You can take the tour for free. You can get in for free. The gift shop's going to cost you a few nickels, but they got some great stuff. But you can do an awful lot. You can even park here for free. So that's not being said much anymore in Las Vegas. So glad to share that with you. Of course, we have Jerry Heasley. He's a contributor to this program. We have Jerry on from time to time. And whenever the topic of Tesla comes up, we instantly call Jerry because that's our boy. He gets it. He got the tattoo, drank the Kool-Aid, went to the sacrifice. He's done it all. He's a man on board. He has an S. I'm curious, is there going to be a 3 in the garage as well?
No, I'm just going to I'll get another S, and I'm waiting for the Roadster. I think I'm going to get the next S after the P100D because with the 2170 batteries, that's what I'm waiting on.
Jerry,
there's going to be another advance.
I got a couple questions for you. All right, I think anything to do with Tesla, the problems are not with the vehicles. I think it's the infrastructure. I think it's the manufacturing challenges. I tell people all the time, anybody could make, 5,000 cars. It's when you start to ramp up those production numbers is when you start to get in trouble. And Titus, you and I saw it from Mercedes-Benz, man. The minute that they ramped it up, their quality went down drastically. And it took them a long time to recover from that. So not only does Tesla have to worry about being able to keep up with the manufacturing, he also has to worry about the back end. And we're talking about service stations. And we're talking about how much time is it going to take if I bring my vehicle in before I can get it, something, whatever it is, needs to be fixed because, the amount of engineers working on it or technicians is going to be limited, as is the amount of locations where you can get this work done. So what is your take on that, Jerry?
Well, I agree that they don't have all these thousands of dealerships like Ford and General Motors does. They're in most metropolitan areas, so that if you're a long ways from a dealership, or a service center, they call them. That is a problem. And they're going to ramp up those as they sell more and more cars. But I always tell people, when people ask me a jillion questions about these when you're out, and I always tell them that's the one main thing is the infrastructure for getting your car serviced. Now, hey, do they need much service? No. I mean, electric battery and electric motors, you've got 8 years on the battery and the motor. So that is a problem. But, and as far as the production, one thing you should look at is this company is trying to go to extreme robotics where they really step up the speed of that assembly line. I was reading one article on this, and they said, the assembly line can't move any faster than the workers can walk along it.
Right.
And with robotics, they're wanting to speed this up to like a factor of 10 or something. You're looking at just incredible speed with robotics and doing most of the jobs that people now do.
Man,
and
will that create a lot of defects? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Before you could stop the line? Oh my gosh.
I'd sure like to see that. I always think back to that Walt Disney movie with the brooms. What was that thing, or Fantasia or something? And so we've entered the 21st century, and that's another reason I got this car. I want to see what the ultimate stuff is, because I still feel like when you're riding an electric car and it's 0 to 60 is under 3 seconds, and you get 100 miles a gallon equivalent. I mean, how can you argue with that kind of performance numbers? Which brings up this 0 to 60 on the Model 3 is another huge thing. 0 to 60, they're saying, is 5.6. That's with the 60 kilowatt hour battery, I believe. But there's another figure I think that people are missing on this. When they say 0 to 60, 5.6, well, that's not all that fast. Hey, that's not that bad. But here's what they're not saying anywhere, is the 0 to 30 is more important than 0 to 60. And when you have all the torque, when you take off, well, you're going to have a Model 3 that'll kind of bolt away from the bolt, if you don't mind that. I wasn't trying to be funny, but it's there's going to be a little bit of a pretty good little jump to this car, over most anything out there. So I think when people get in, I always say, once you get in the seat of one of these electric cars, you'll understand. And everybody's coming out with them. This is the first. I think, Rick, one reason we get into this is because this is the transformation of the automobile industry. I mean, I want you guys to think back and look not just at the creation of a totally new American car company, but when have we ever seen anything like the electric car? When have you ever seen anything this transformational?
No, I'm there with you, and this technology I do not resist. Let me ask you this: Workhorse, electric pickup. Are they serious? Do you think there's going to be a pickup coming out of Tesla at some point?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're going to have a pickup. Yeah, and before they have a pickup, this company really surprises everybody. In September, they're introducing the semi truck, like an 18-wheeler.
Right. I had seen some leaks on that. Yep. I'm telling you, he's not kidding around.
Driven it, and Elon said that he said, I've driven the vehicle, and I'm thinking, wow, we haven't seen these spy pictures, but he's driven the vehicle, and he said he could take any other diesel semi and hook on with a chain, and he said, I think I could pull it up a hill.
I wonder if Elon Musk has a commercial driver's license. just a thought. Or did he?
I don't think anybody's questioning the performance of these vehicles.
Oh, no.
That's hands down. That's fine. Great. You got the fastest truck in the world. When people want their products, they want them now. It's not how long is it going to take for a truck to recharge. So you get 3/4 of the way to Las Vegas, and then the trucker's got to sit there for 3 hours waiting for the vehicle to charge, whatever it's going to take, unless they're doing the change out battery kind of thing. But still, it's not about the performance. It's about the downtime in between waiting for things to happen.
Definitely that. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. There's two things, and one is the service with the number of where your service centers, and the other thing is how long does it take to charge. And I think this is. Let's watch the announcement here next month. Let's see if there's also a surprise on these 2170s charging much faster. I think that's coming, but I have people on the forums that oppose me on that, but I believe that is coming. You'll see faster charging times because there's some terrific. We've never really had a big investment in battery research until now.
Right.
A little bit with computers, and that's what gave us the 18650 lithium-ion battery that's in the Tesla now. But now they're having lots of advancements. Solid-state batteries will come next, and there's a company now working with the graphene supercapacitors, thinking that a capacitor will replace the battery. And so far, nobody's come up with that. But who knows what we'll see? But I think you'll see very fast charging times within 5 years, maybe 2 years, and faster with this one. But I think that we will see, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but it just came the other day. I think we'll see an electric car that'll go 1,000 miles on the charge, and it'll charge in 10 minutes.
Well, it could be true. I wanted to share this one with you, Jerry. So I have this really immaculate Survivor 1964 Corvair. But the motor's down for the count. So I thought, what might be a fun project is let's go pure electric on this thing. Let's see what that would take. So I started doing the research on it. We're pretty well connected to a guy who's involved with doing that. First of all, base price $30,000. Oh, but if you want the Tesla batteries, which doubles the range, there's no denying it, that's about $42,000. I'm like, it makes no sense if I can go buy one for $35,000 and it's done and it's a modern car. Why would I now bother even hoping to convert something? It just, the math no longer made sense, Jerry.
Well, you can go out and buy, let's say, a chassis from a wrecked Tesla. I thought about doing this. I've been comparing wheelbases, and I would love to put, you talk about your Corvair. I'd love to take a Model S chassis, okay, which is just real low, and put it like on a 51 Ford Woody station wagon.
Oh, see,
because,
this is what's coming, Jerry.
This is why you don't leave Jerry to think too much on his own.
Wow.
Yep.
I've always wanted to put a big block Chevrolet in a Tesla, but it's just me.
That's right.
Apparently
you're the only one. Yeah, I hear the bell housing's hard to get. All right, Heasley, as always, it's very entertaining talking to you. You're a crazy man, but we know that going in. But we appreciate your insight. We know that you are into this topic deep, as you are with Porsches, and we always get a big giggle out of talking to you. So that, my friend, we wish you safe travels. We know you got a busy month coming. And for all of our listeners, we just want to say thank you for being with us. We truly appreciate it. Our numbers are growing so rapidly now. We're an overnight success. Just took 18 years to do it. So all that said, we wish you open roads and safe motoring. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Drivers Talk Radio. Don't miss a show by subscribing to us through YouTube, iTunes, or Stitcher. You can like our page, Drivers Talk Radio, on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter at Drivers Talk Rick for all the latest in automotive news and happenings. See you next week.